we got to talk about the all-time high. Bitcoin cruised right through it, broke. We're at 66. Saw it at 66666, which was, notable for other reasons, but $66,000 per orange coin, which is a huge deal. That's the biggest ever. That breaks April's all-time high of 6,400. I think it hit like 64840 was the top there in April. And now we went like through this whole bear market mini cycle over the summer. A lot of people lost the faith. September was super bloody. A lot of people went down their portfolios like 50%. And now here we are back on the pinnacles of all-time highs. So that's pretty fantastic. Jen, I'm going to throw this down to you as the only other person who really cares about Bitcoin on this show. What's your takeaway?
Well, I'm going to cut in there. Why do you keep saying that?
Naomi, don't steal my thunder now.
Before you were even born, boy. All right, Jen, handing it off to you.
I mean, Will, you shared a video in our Slack group earlier today, and it just encapsulated my feelings. It just was like
Do we have that video?
Happy morning. We're going to pump it up. My shoulders have been moving all morning. We don't have the video, but I know
Controls
that...
my fun.
I know. They just kill fun on all-time high day. I know that we're all going to share stories about our Bitcoin stories and our Bitcoin journey. So I'll just start us off. And then, Naomi, I will pass it to you because I know you have a lot to say. But mine, I think this show has played a big part in mine. So I got into the space in I think 2016 after taking advice from friends. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I didn't really understand it. That's why I'm a huge supporter of educating yourself. It worked out for me, but I fell into the crypto space because I was doing my MBA. And there's an incubator that was running out of my school, and they had a blockchain boot camp. And I knew nothing about blockchain. And I was like, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to go to this boot camp and I'm just going to be super honest about what I know and what I don't know. And on that very first day, I met the co-founders of a crypto company that we run now. And I just fell into the space. It's been a really educational journey for me over the last three or 4 years. I don't remember how much Bitcoin was back then. So I'm sorry, I can't give that colorful comment, but it's just been a really kind of educational past few years for me. I went back to school again to study the regulation around crypto. By my comments a lot of time on the show, you probably wouldn't know that, but I'm just continuing to learn in the space.
Wow, what a downer this morning.
And it's really cool. Now our producers call me an NFT queen. So it's been a really exciting journey for me. It's one that's continuing. But Naomi, take us back to when you got into the space.
Take us back. It's been a journey, guys. It's been a journey. So I first heard about Bitcoin like 2012 in the Ron Paul era. When someone on the campaign came to this economics meetup that I used to go to and started talking about Ron Paul, and then I found out about Bitcoin through that. But then I started making videos about Bitcoin 2013. So I was like interviewing everyone around New York, all of the startups that were there. This was pre-BitLicense. So this is when there was actually a Bitcoin scene in New York City. There were companies actually based there before the mass exodus of the BitLicense. And then from there, just doing stuff. So I started working at the New York Bitcoin Center 2013 as like a policy associate. I wrote a children's book about Bitcoin. And then really just covering the space and making sure people knew how exciting this was. Because at the time, most of my videos were all about like, this could potentially be a tool for freedom. And everyone was like, you're an idiot. And then now, we have all kinds of countries around the world, citizens of countries exploring this as a way out and as a tool for freedom. So it was very obvious to a lot of people in the early days how valuable a decentralized money supply would be. And so super excited. I don't know if Control can do like a zoom in. Got my ticker right there, 66,000.
You're asking a lot right now.
Control, zoom.
I'm asking a lot.
Zoom now.
Control, zoom. No, they can't zoom. All right. Well, the ticker, the rocket there, 66,000. We've come a long way since 2012 to 2013. But Zach, I'm going to throw it to you.
Sure. I'm just a lowly journalist here in the space. So, cover the thing with a degree of healthy remove. But, I'm a bear market native, joined CoinDesk November 1st, 2018, when I think Bitcoin was like I don't know, 3K. I'm probably gonna embarrass myself by not knowing that, but was a bit of a wintry time to be jumping into the space feet first to cover it, and whether or not it had the staying power, I think, was still an open question, even though the technology itself had been around for a number of years at that point. So seeing it sort of run up past previous run up to all-time highs, back down, and then back up again to where we are today. Definitely remarkable to see the enthusiasm around this asset class. I think, really crystallized by the Bitcoin futures ETF launch just the other day. So for the price to be growing in turn feels like, that sort of natural sentiment around Bitcoin. Sentiment often moves these markets maybe perhaps a bit more in a bit more pronounced fashion than the fundamentals or quote unquote reality, but there certainly are real world tailwinds that are helping Bitcoin as well. I think people are increasingly concerned about inflation, are increasingly concerned about some of the issues that Bitcoin seeks to fix as it relates to the traditional financial system. So, the ETF, I think people are celebrating that in the US, but there are also macro factors that are sort of adding to this boost that we're seeing here toward the end of 2021. And, it's one of those moments where you're kind of in uncharted waters, right? You don't know what's going to happen to the orange coin when it's treading above all-time highs. Could go significantly higher, could do any number of things. And that's what our markets team is looking at today as Bitcoin charts new highs. But I'm going to toss this to you, Will. Curious for your thoughts on Bitcoin.
Yes, fact check you. I don't get to do that often, but November 2018, the price broke below 6K for the first time in quite a while. And that's kind of where like the first bear market began, you can say, for Bitcoin after that previous all-time high. So you joined the industry at a notable time. Kind of with you on that, I joined around 2018. My first instance of hearing about Bitcoin was 2013 when my buddy was buying weed off the dark market with Bitcoin. I think a lot of people my age had interest in Bitcoin that way. Now here we are 7-8 years later, very different world. Interesting to see that. When I first got into Bitcoin, prices are around the same, 6K, just like you. Now it's obviously much higher, 10 times that multiple. But it wasn't always like that. It's been up and down market, just like you said, Zach. It's taken a while to kind of understand where things are going. And journalists don't always get to enjoy the benefits of that. But yeah, wild to see all that kind of stuff come together. And just to touch on the ETF, like it traded at, I think, almost $1 billion in volume yesterday, which was just extremely notable to see that a Bitcoin ETF is so demanded by the market. Even if it's imperfect, even if it's a futures contract and a cash trade, the market still is demanding this product so much that, in fact, it was one of the highest openings for an ETF product ever. So pretty notable day all around. Pretty awesome to see Bitcoin so high right now.
Yay!
Naomi, I will throw it over to you for our next topic.
Yeah, I wanted to just add to your point, Will, because I think that weed is the way a lot of people got involved with Bitcoin. And I do want to mention that although we talk about Bitcoin Pizza Day as being the first example of real world goods being traded for Bitcoin, it was the Silk Road that made Bitcoin. It was the Silk Road that popularized it and actually showed that there was a use case for this. It's a market that's heavily regulated. A lot of people don't understand why in medicine like marijuana would be illegal, but it is. And so a lot of people were going to the Silk Road, which was a predominantly marijuana marketplace. If you guys want to learn about the travesty of justice that was the Silk Road takedown and Ross Ulbricht, who was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years, head over to freeross.org. And if you are interested in his story, maybe you can even sign the petition for clemency, because it's an absolute disgusting story. And I was at the hearings and it was just absolutely terrible. And yeah, it was thanks to Silk Road that we have Bitcoin really proven as a use case.